season 1 of Operation True Love has finished. It's done. It's completed, and I'm caught up. You know, I'm ready to read more whenever it comes out. Supposedly in April. I don't know. And I like it so far. I really do. I really like the romance between the characters. I'm not the biggest of fans of the fantasy elements, which seem kind of inconsistent, but outside of that, I quite like the character arcs and the progress, and now the confession and everything. And you know, if you don't know this story, then this is gonna have spoilers in it. This video is gonna have spoilers. Thank you. Yeah, I really do like that. Honestly, it makes me warm. It makes me blush. You know, like the whole chapter 89, just everything at the very end of the season. It's just I feel vindicated. Okay. So apart from the fantasy element, you know, because we got lovely art, we got lovely characters, we got decent progression in story and plot, and you know, love backstories. The backstories are nice as well. There is one thing that has persisted throughout that I want to talk about. One problem, one issue that needs to be addressed. And like, this isn't like a proper review of the whole thing because it's not even finished, right? I feel like it's not right to review something that's not even finished. This is more like a commentary, you know, more like a rant, more like a discussion. I just wanted to raise with the class. If you're seeing this, you know, whoever you are, hello, nice to meet you. You come here often. About Baek Do-hwa. Is that how you say his name? Do-hwa Baek. BD is his name. Let's call him BD. Yeah, we need to talk about BD because he's a problem, and you might not know why. So I'm going to explain that. And you know, if you have any time, check out my portfolio link in the description, whatever it is, some link to some website. So I'm sure you can tell from my tone of voice, I am not like, you know, super angry with this. You know, I'm tired, to be honest. I've read so many chapters of this stuff, and I've really thought the couple was adorable. Again, the plot, you know, the fantasy elements, the sci-fi, you know, there's some inconsistencies, there's some flaws in logic, you know, but apart from that, I do like the kind of what is going on. I've enjoyed that, and I enjoyed their conversations. I love the progress they've made with each other. So of course, when he was introduced, I was kind of like, okay, all right, so we're gonna get a friend, we're gonna get someone new. Then obviously my balls were in my throat when I thought for a second it was gonna be a love triangle, because your girl isn't a big fan. You know, I hard-shipped the main couple pretty much from the jump. I did. He's my type. What can I say? I'm a simp for gotten here. Black-haired, cool, actually affectionate, actually every single green flag. He is amazing. I'm a simp. I am. It's just the truth. And so obviously I thought, and I think it's very valid to think, that if this is a love triangle, I'm gonna have to dip, because I don't want a competition. Where's the competing? What's the competition about? What happened is we started to get this development of, he needs friendships. You know, he's lacking in friendships. He's lacking in close connection. He needs people who don't like him, you know, like romantically. He needs foundation. And what do we get? What do we get in response to that? He has a crush on her. Whoop-de-doo. It's awkward because simultaneously the main couple is main coupling, you know, they will have mutual affection for each other. There's the whole drama, and then he's just kind of there, right? And I was just, throughout the whole, you know, main build up of the series, of the first season, I was just thinking, you know, he should just be a good friend, right? He should be a good friend. That would be preferable. But instead, you know what we got? We got a third wheel. Instead of getting someone who actually, unlike other webtoons, is a platonic soulmate of the opposite sex while she pursued her own romance, we got a third wheel and an annoyance. Someone with unnecessary screen time. And if I was to go through that slowly, third wheel, I mean, come on. We're riding a bike here. What's the training wheels for? Like, I can't even, there's countless times where they're having their vibe, you know. And the most recent thing that comes to mind is when they were like, in the last story arc that we had, or the last bit, they were in this Resolute hotel-ish place, Airbnb. He was there as a third wheel. And then an annoyance. I mean, listen, I know there's a lot of supporters for him. And if you are one, if you really, you're a BD stan, go for it, because it's not like I hate the guy. Like, they gave a lot of good backstory, a lot, showing his character, showing that he wants affection, he wants more. But I honestly think he was reduced down to a love interest, to an annoyance, to something that if I saw him, I was like, oh, great, we're not gonna get the scene we want. We're not gonna get the development we want. We're gonna just sit here and watch him hopelessly pine after her, I think is the phrase, when we could instead be watching a mutual affection going on with my boy. And so it was annoying. And the unnecessary screen time, that's what it was. That was part of it, because it was unnecessarily long. It's not even just like, oh, some scenes we get with him, fine. It was like every 3 chapters we'd have to come from Eunhyuk and Soe and go to him, and I was just like, why? It's just platonic. What I personally think would have been nice, what I personally think would have worked, right, is if he was a character that Suhae and him like developed a strong friendship for, and not this crush nonsense. I think if every time they spent time together, every unnecessarily long time they were stuck in a room together, or some XYZ nonsense, or she went and confronted him because he was hibernating, all of this nonsense that would have been cute if I cared, but I don't care because there's no mutual affection. It's just one-sided and it's dumb. And what would have been better is if they used that time to develop their friendship, their deep friendship, and there was no romantic feelings at all ever there. Well, I would have actually had some interesting archetypes and some interesting development, interesting character development. It could have worked. They could have even talked about Eunhyuk together and become friends. It would have been a nice unnatural friendship that then it would be like, oh, Eunhyuk's misunderstanding, but Eunhyuk doesn't misunderstand because he's the greenest flag on the fucking planet Earth, so he wouldn't have misunderstood. He would have understood. He'd have been like, I'm let me not overreact, and let me just understand what's going on with them. They're just becoming friends, and then we could have had a nice wholesome time. It's not even unnecessary tension, because what's there to be tense about? There's a bike, we don't need a third wheel. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're inside the house, nobody's answering. Like, why are you knocking? You're not getting in. It's a straight line, not a triangle. Like, I don't actually personally understand what the point was, because did you ever listen? Okay, answer me this question. When you were reading, did you ever think after maybe like a few chapters in, after he was introduced, did you ever truly think that he was a possible viable option? Because I didn't. I feared. That was the thing. I was fearing. I wasn't logically thinking this is gonna work, because logically it wasn't. Because these two like each other. Like, it's explicitly obvious and clear. They're flirting with each other. They're literally on the cover doing their romance thing. They're doing their thing, okay? We're trying to watch that. That's the main show. And yet, every half an hour, man was turning on like an advert. I was like, it's been 5 seconds. Why can't I skip this ad? But no, it's just him sitting in a room, pining over somebody who doesn't even like him, and wasting that valuable time that could have been used for character development and friendship development. And so it never really felt truly like he was supposed to be a second male lead. If it did, it would have felt like we were, switching channels. But instead, it felt like an ad. That's what I'm saying. And so I don't personally understand the point. Is it because that he was, or BD was the author's fave? Like, was he the author's favorite character? Because they can, listen, say that. Listen, this guy's my type. I like how he looks. I do prefer the main couple that I'm writing and making the main couple, but I do like him as a side piece. I just like him there, because there was no realistic. She never liked him. She literally never liked BD. Like, there was not even a which is I'm thankful for, because I would have stopped reading. But at the same time, if I stopped reading, then I wouldn't have this confusion, this annoyance, this like, why did they do what? If this is your favorite character, why are you doing him dirty like this? He should have had a friend instead. He's just suffering. So I don't know if it's the author's favorite character. I don't know if that's why. I don't know if that's why. And then is it the production team, the pressure? I just read the author's note at the very end of the season 1, and all I'm getting from that is they were living their life. They were working hard. They won a competition with the story, and they got paid. And it didn't seem like there was a lot of pressure. A lot of people in author's notes at the end of stuff, I've read like quite a few. I've finished a few manhwas and web comics and stuff. I've seen it. And they talk about the pressure. They go back over it. They're like, oh, it's tough. I enjoyed it. It was a good ride. Da, da, da. This person didn't really seem like it was that, like, I mean, when you can draw like that, I'm sure it wasn't that tough. I'm joking. But like, you know, so I don't know, because if anything, okay, if a production team usually, like, think about, I don't know, True Beauty, think about, you know, the big stories where there's a big love triangle that you can tell is really forced, you know, Let's Play, you know, 2 comics I read until they started to become love triangles for no fucking reason, because it was very obvious that they weren't in the beginning. And you can tell it's tangible, literally tangible. I can feel it with my own 2 hands that the production team was just like, hey, we got to stretch this. I don't know what to say to you, but we got to stretch this. Like, we got to. And so all the logical romantic choices and story beats that are supposed to happen just don't, because they're dragging it and they're trying to make, you know, football teams you know, we're trying to make it so that people are fighting and tense and it's going on for as long as possible, and it can make as much money as possible, and it's just a bunch of nonsense, and you can tell that. But with this, it didn't exactly feel like it, because usually with the love triangle, you don't know which one is going to be which, or like, even if you have a suspicion, it's very, very tense. Whereas with this story, it was simply, we knew what was going to happen because it was obvious, because they were crushing, because they were like standing next to each other on windows, kissing. Like, are you serious? Like, they're confessing, they're saying they like each other. What is the confusion? There's no confusion. They like each other. It's mutual. I don't understand. Which is why I'm saying it doesn't feel like Let's Play or True Beauty or any other webtoon that's susceptible to production team pressure or whatever, because there's generally no like, oh, which one is it gonna be, you know? And like Edith as well. Like, okay, actually I don't think Edith was about production team pressure. I don't know what she was thinking when she finished. I think it was when the author finished Edith, and I do not want to know, because I read until 3/5 in and I heard some things about the ending. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what changes the story in a webtoon. I don't want to know whether it was just the author, because, you know, maybe it could be a mixture of both here as well. Maybe it's a kind of Edith situation where it might be maybe the author just changed their minds. Maybe the production team is putting pressure on a certain outcome to shock the readers. I don't know. Or maybe it's a later complication. Let's just be real. Season 2, they're gonna have a season 2. There's gonna be lots of stuff. Honestly, this story could have ended at season 1. I'm not even gonna lie, because again, the fantasy element's really not that strong. Maybe it's because I read a ton of fantasy action stuff all the time. Like, I'm probably more familiar with fantasy or action stuff, strategic stuff, mystery stuff than anything. So I think a lot more about strategy and plot and consistencies and logic, and this lacked it, because clearly the author's really good at romance but not necessarily good at fantasy. And knowing when I'm bored of someone's POV, like BD POV, why do I have to see it every 5 chapters? Like, I'm sick of, what is the point of seeing a one-sided relate? Like, what was the point? Didn't add anything. Maybe it will in season 2. Maybe, that's what I'm saying, maybe there's something underlying. Maybe the author's gonna pull an Edith. Maybe I'd rather die, but maybe, you know, the end is gonna be completely different from what we expect. Maybe that's why he's still there. Maybe it's supposed to be very poignant character development for BD. Maybe I don't know. I honestly don't know. But if it's not one of these 3, if it's not because he's the author's favorite character, or because the production team is adding pressure, or because it's a later complication, I don't really get what his purpose is in the story. And literally that's all I wanted to say. I mean, it's not a long video, it's just a discussion, just something to think about. I mean, if you've read it, let me know what you think. I honestly just think that Doha needs to go away and beckon his own love interest. Did you hear the pun? I'm tired. You can probably tell, like, I'm not even angry. Like, do you know how long I've spent reading this being angry? Like, I could be angry again. I could honestly just be angry and just shout the whole time and be like, who gives that shit? Who gives that shit? I could do all of that, right? Who cares? Who cares about him? Get rid of him, please. But I don't want to, because he is, looking back, he's not a bad character. He's just being used in a way I don't understand. He's not a male lead. He is a tool, and I don't know what that is for, or why he's being used in this way. And maybe season 2 will know. So you know what? Let me wait. I'm not gonna review this yet, but I need to give him a second. I'll let them cook. I'll let the author cook. Maybe they're just cooking. I don't know. Maybe they're just cooking. So, yeah. What do you think? I don't know. If you want to do one thing, then subscribe. Otherwise, watch my other videos. Thank you. Janyong. They were super cute in that outro. Kind of just like, they were so cute in the end of the season. Bro, I want to get merch. And the author even said that they might be printing like soft cover, like comics or something. So I'm just hoping. I'm praying. Fingers crossed. I'm just hoping for the best. I'm hoping, because I'm a simp.